bespoke suit. I'll bite my nose, spite my face, and speak my point of view. I'm saying, c'est la vie, c'est la vie. Oh, when the rain pours down and you don't know why, 'cause it ain't a cloud in the big blue sky, mister. Play it safe, faith is all you really need. Oh, life will go on, c'est la vie, c'est la vie, c'est la vie. I see things with clarity, no one understands. My job brings out the worst in me, and God laughs at my plans. I'm saying, c'est la vie, c'est la vie. My heavy head still wears a crown made out of thorns. My friends all try to drag me down like I've been misinformed. And say it, c'est la vie, c'est la vie. Oh, when the rain pours down and you don't know why, 'cause there ain't a cloud in the big blue sky, mister. Play it safe, faith is all you really need. Oh, life will go on, c'est la vie, c'est la vie, c'est la vie. Oh, life will go on, c'est la vie, c'est la vie, c'est la vie. Oh, 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 oh. Thank you very much. We're called Keywest. Thank you so much for stopping to listen to us. That was called C'est la vie. This next one is called The Little Things, and just to tell you a little bit about us, the long story short is we've had 3 #1 albums in the official charts here in Ireland. We've had 5 #1 singles. We've been nominated 3 times in the Irish Music Awards, and we've had a Platinum Award. Basically, we decided to walk away from our labels, agencies, publishers, managers, and everybody else to try and build something of our own, to sort of start our own infrastructure and build something from the ground up, because we kind of got fed up being ripped off by an industry that's getting worse every single year. For example, one album sale on the street is worth about 7,500 streams on Spotify. And that means a band of 5 people, if they get over 60 million streams a year, are going to earn about the same as a Spotify employee. Now, if you have a record deal, the record label is generally going to take about 80% of that. We have friends that are in bands in the US that get between 70 and 100 million streams per song, and they're broke. You need to be getting towards the billions now if you want to be making decent money, if you have a label. Because if you have a label, it's 80%, managers 20, 25, publishers 50. You got agents, promoters. So we got fed up being used up by a system, and once we got out of all of our contracts, it took a long time to get out of all the contracts because each of them expires at a different time, and we had to wait a long time. And now we're finally independent, finally free. Our brand new album is called Anything But Normal. It's called Anything But Normal because we will take anything but normal. So there you go. Thank you. Thank you. So have a listen to this song, see what you think. It's essentially about everything I just said. It's about reevaluating what you think is important. It's called The Little Things. And if you decide you like what we're doing and you'd like to take away the music, pop on over to Glover after this song. We will be able to help you out. This bit's very important. If you don't have a CD player, this is our album right here. Behind the CD, there is a download card that has a password that will allow you to download or stream the album from our website to your phone, but you cannot get this on any other services. You can only get it directly from us. And essentially, if you want to go for the best deal possible, all 3 albums for 20 is good. Plus, we've also included bag totally free in there as well that says the best buskers in the world are made on Grafton Street, Ireland. If you're looking for a souvenir in Dublin and you want something that doesn't say Ireland, Dublin, Trinity, Guinness or Temple Bar on it, that's the way to go. This is the best thing about Dublin in my opinion, is the music on the streets. Still has a very strong culture for music on the streets. This is the most famous street in the world for street performers, and it has produced more successful musicians than any other street in the world by far. So it's an academy. If you like what we're doing, pop on over after this song. This is called The Little Things. And if you don't mind, guys, can I ask you to come in and fill this gap here and just come right up to the red line? Because you'll notice this area of the street's quite narrow, especially with the scaffolding, so we need to make sure we're not blocking the space. This is called The Little Things. And again, just to remind you guys, we are just two members of a five-piece band. There's 5 people in Keywest, so we're doing our best to sort of give you an example of what the song sounds like. But we hope you'll take it with a pinch of salt because we are missing 3 people. We don't bring them on the street with us because it takes too long to move 5 people around. We can only play for an hour and then we have to move. So if you've got a drummer and a bass player and an electric guitar player, there's a lot of people to kind of organise. This is all plugged in, stays plugged in. It's a little bit faster. So that's how we do it. This is called The Little Things. When you're all alone, I will be that shining light to guide you home. 'Cause it's the little things, I swear, the way you sing when you dry your hair. It's the little things we share. Closer tears, we stay up late drinking cheap red wine. Like it's our first date, we'll just talk all night about the little things. When you're older, when your bones feel weak, I will sing to you until you fall asleep. It's hard to move, I will dance with you right there in the living room. 'Cause it's the little things you do, the way you laugh when I act a fool. It's the little things you do. The way you hold my hand after all these years. You make me laugh when I'm close to tears. We stay up late drinking cheap red wine. Like it's our first date and we'll just talk all night. I tell you all my fears and you just say, we'll play it all by ear. We'll be okay. We're so much stronger than all of this. We'll build our lives up brick by brick up on the little things. Upon the little things. Thank you very much, thank you. Again, we're called Keywest, guys. Thank you so much for stopping to listen to us. So if you do like what we're doing, in between the songs is the opportunity to take away our albums. Glover will be able to help you out. And if you don't mind, I'll tell you a little bit more about us, as I said. So the long story short is, we're just 2 members of a 5-piece band. His name is Glover, my name is Cav, and we go by those names because we're both Andrew. We've been friends since we were 6 years old. We started playing on this street when we were 14. We went over to the US when we were 18. We are a 5-piece band called Keywest. We met the first, cheers, bud. We met the first 2 guys in Los Angeles and the final member of the band in Key West in Florida. We met the the last guy in Keywest in Florida. We then went back to Los Angeles and started busking on 3rd Street Promenade. And we wound up working with some really great guys. We ended up working with a producer called Mark Needham. Mark is a legendary producer. He produced the Mr. Brightside album for The Killers, Rumours for Fleetwood Mac, Wicked Game for Chris Isaac, Radioactive for Imagine Dragons. So we went from busking on the streets one week to rehearsing next door to the Rolling Stones and writing songs with The Calling the following week. So we had an incredible experience. Since then we've had 3 #1 albums, 9 top 10 singles, 5 #1 singles, a platinum album, 3 nominations in the Irish Music Awards, and we've also had some substantial awards around the world over the years. We've had some nice tours. We've been on stages with Bastille, Bryan Adams, 30 Seconds to Mars. We played Hyde Park with Paul Simon. So we've had some wonderful experiences, but we got fed up being ripped off by an industry that was just screwing us over left, right and centre. Like I said, a lot of people don't understand this, but one album sale on the streets worth 7,500 streams roughly equates to about 60 million streams a year for the 5 of us to earn the same wages as 5 Spotify employees. Now, if you've got a record deal, you're going to lose about 80% of that. Generally speaking, we've got friends that are in big deals who seem like they're very famous bands. They do between 70 and 100 million streams per song, and they're broke and exhausted and they don't know what to do. So have a listen. Generally speaking, what happens to us on the street is 2 things. People will either watch us for a little bit and they'll go home later and they'll talk about it, and they will realize later tonight, and I can say this confidently, that you have never walked down the street in your entire lives anywhere in the world and heard somebody tell you they had a platinum album while they were busking. I can say that confidently, and I'm not saying it because I'm boasting. I'm saying it because how do you go from playing Coachella to playing on the street? You put your ego aside and you find out why you're doing it. You change your values, and that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to build something substantial. So we hope you'll have a listen and see what you think. A lot of people, they go home later, they look us up out of curiosity, they listen to some more music, they end up being more interested after they hear the songs again. Perhaps you'll end up on our social media, and then you'll end up watching one of these live streams that we're doing right now. We're on 3 different platforms at the moment. And then you'll hear me tell you this story on a live stream. And then you'll be one of the 600 people every week that comes up on that live stream and says, I saw you guys last week, I should have got an album, I didn't, where are you going to be? Because they realize later, it takes a while, you'll realize later, you will never come across us on the street again. You would have to walk down the same street as us, in the same country as us, at the same hour as us, in the same city as us, with no rain. So generally speaking, we don't meet people twice. We get one chance to win you over. I hope you'll take it. This next song is called This Is Heartbreak. I wrote this when I was 18, the day after I got dumped. I never wanted this song on the album. He found this song on a cassette tape. He came in, he said, there's a song on here I've never heard, because obviously I didn't want to spend the day after I got dumped writing songs with him. So he found this song, he said, let's put it on the album. I said, absolutely not. I don't want to have to sing that song for the rest of my life. And he said, look, we'll just put it on the album, we won't release it. The idea being we won't publicize it, we won't put it on the radio, we won't release it as a song. I said, okay. That's not how Spotify works. I didn't know that at the time. So we put the album out on Spotify, then this song got streamed about 3 million times in 2 weeks. It went straight to #1 in the official charts and it stayed there for 6 weeks, and it spent the next year in the top 10. And now I have to sing it for the rest of my life, after his advice. It's called This Is Heartbreak. And again, if you like what we're doing, I hope you'll consider taking away the albums. As I said, to offer you as much value as we can. First of all, very important, I know you don't have a CD player, okay? Here's the album. Behind the CD is the extra stuff right here. This is a couple of instructions and a password. That password will give you access to download or stream the album from our website. You can use that as much as you want, and you can share it with each other. You can even share it with your friends and family when you get home. It's unlimited access to streaming and downloading that album directly from our website to you. Also, if you decide to go for the value deal, it is only $20 for all 3 of the albums, and we've added in these bags for free. They say the best buskers in the world are made on Grafton Street, Ireland. This is the most famous street in the world for street performances. It has produced more successful musicians than any other street in the world, and it is the best thing about Dublin, because there are cities all over the world shutting down music on the streets. Amsterdam used to have the most vibrant street performers in the world. You can no longer hear music on the streets in Amsterdam. I want you to process that for a second. Think of all the things you can do in Amsterdam, but you're not allowed to play on the streets. That's just how the world is, because nobody's making money off you. So bureaucracy shuts it down because they want you going inside instead of outside where it's free. So thanks so much for your time. If you'd like to support something today that isn't some big company, come over to us after this song. As I said, the bag is totally free and it's the best souvenir in Dublin because everything else just says Dublin, Trinity, Guinness, Ireland, Temple Bar, or has a shamrock on it, or a leprechaun or something along those lines. That says the best buskers in the world are made on Grafton Street, Ireland. It's unique, it's interesting in a world where nothing is unique anymore. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you'll appreciate the value of all of those things because if you go to Temple Bar today, you will be charged $17.50 for 2 Guinness. Or you could have 3 CDs in a bag. What's the worst case scenario there? You've got 3 coasters in a bag to put them in. 3 coasters for your very expensive Guinness later. That's the worst case, you know? Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it. This is called This Is Heartbreak. And if you don't mind, guys, can I ask you to step into our rope? Because when you stand far back, we clog the road and we get in trouble for that. So if you could just come into the rope here, and I promise it's not electrified yet. We haven't turned on the electricity. Wonderful. This is called This Is Heartbreak. Today the world doesn't feel quite the same. Today I opened up my eyes, but I didn't wake. Maybe I was dreaming and I never heard you say you don't love me anymore. Me and you are yesterday. Oh no, this must be heartbreak. Oh no, this must be heartbreak. When will I be okay? When will I be myself? When will I move on and fall in love with someone else? I'm hurting over and over again. I can't take it. Someone tell me when my heart will stop breaking. I ask the same old questions every day. Where did I go wrong? Was there something I could say? Did you ever love me? Or was I just a passing phase? Seems like I was making plans while you made your great escape. Oh no, this must be heartbreak. Oh no, this must be heartbreak. When will I be okay? When will I be myself? When will I move on and fall in love with someone else? I'm hurting over and over again. I can't take it. Someone tell me when my heart will stop breaking. Someone tell me when my heart will stop breaking. This is heartbreak. This is heartbreak. This is heartbreak. Oh, oh. This is heartbreak. This is heartbreak. This is heartbreak. Oh, oh. Today the world doesn't feel quite the same. Today I opened up my eyes, but I didn't wake. Oh, when will I be okay? When will I be myself? When will I move on and fall in love with someone else? I'm hurting over and over again. I can't take it. Someone tell me when my heart will stop breaking. Someone tell me when my heart will stop breaking. Thank you very much. Thank you. Again, we're called Keywest, guys. Thank you so very much for stopping to listen to us. In between the songs, moments like now, if anybody would like to take away our music and be a part of our journey, please pop over to Talk to Glover. If you just want to hang out and listen, I'll tell you a little bit more about us, as I said, in between each song. He does take cash or card. I saw you, don't worry. I was watching. If you do like what we're doing, like I said, we are now a completely independent band. We got ourselves out of our record deals and agency deals and contract deals, and we hope, in the very least, you might see the uniqueness of this situation. As I said, we have had 3 #1 albums in the official charts. In fact, our debut album was released the exact same week that Ed Sheeran released his second album. And Ed Sheeran spent a bit over 6 weeks behind us in the charts here in Ireland. So he was #1 the whole world, except for Ireland, because an unknown band was busking on the streets outside of the music shops and asking people to go in and buy the albums. Now, we ran out of stock eventually, and then he went #1 anyway, and he stayed #1 for, honestly, maybe 6 months. It was a very impressive run. But, as I said, we were #1 for that period of time. It was a wonderful time for us. I'll take them. Thanks so much. So we decided to get out of our deals, out of our agency deals, publishing deals, all these contracts, because we got fed up with how the system works. Essentially, we're going to try and do something different. We're going to try and pave a new way of doing things by essentially going backwards a little bit. Because the difference is, when you build a fan base on the streets like this, it's real. It's real people with real connection, and people come to shows, and all of the money that we earn from people buying our music goes into making more music, recording the albums, getting them mixed and mastered by the best people, booking the venues to go on tour, advertising the tours. It's very substantial, but we do it together, because, as with all things, if you're going to take on a system and try and do something independently, the only way it works is if the whole band, the whole people get behind it, the whole community, if everybody gets in behind it, then it works. So I hope you might consider taking away the albums, as I said. And if you do want to take them away, pop over in between the songs. And again, please remember, we are just 2 members of a 5-piece band. We're doing our best here to really deliver these songs the way they should be, but obviously it is only half. You want to follow? All right. This next song is called, and we got some requests in, I'm sure we do. Alright, so we've had a request there for a song, Apple Tree Hill, which I love to do. We're going to play a fast song first. And for those of you who just stopped, basically we're called Keywest. His name is Glover, my name is Cav. We go by those names because we're both Andrew. We grew up in the same housing estate here in Dublin. We've been friends since we were 6 years old, and we started playing on this street when we were 14 years old. We went over to the US when we were 18, and while there we met the rest of the band. There's 5 people in the band. We met the first 2 guys in Los Angeles and the final member of the band in Key West. We then started busking in LA, ended up working with some really great people, including a wonderful producer called Mark Needham. Mark is a legend. He produced the Mr. Brightside album for The Killers, Rumours for Fleetwood Mac, Wicked Game for Chris Isaac, Radioactive for Imagine Dragons. His list is very extensive. And we went literally from busking one week to rehearsing next door to the Rolling Stones the following week and writing songs with The Calling. I don't know if you know The Calling, but I guess their biggest song is If I Could and I Would, I'll go wherever you will go, way up high, down low. I don't see any nodding heads, so maybe you don't know. But basically that's a very big song. I don't know, it's huge for my childhood, so there you go.
Yeah, here as well.
So have a listen, see what you think of what we're doing, and if you'd like to support us, we are now completely independent. We've traded in all the labels, agencies, publishers and everybody else after having 3 #1 albums because we decided we'd had enough of a system that was designed simply to take advantage of us. So we're now people powered, which means we're reliant on you stopping and deciding you like what we do and deciding you want to buy the music off us instead of giving somebody else your money. You cannot get our brand new album anywhere else except off us, but we also know you're just making an impulse decision, so we're going to offer you as much value as we possibly can. If you want to take all of our albums away, it is only 20 for all 3 of the albums, and then the bag is totally free with the 3 albums. And it's the best souvenir you can get in the city. It says the best buskers in the world are made on Grafton Street, Ireland. This is the most famous street in the world for street performers. There's a movie about it, literally. The song in the movie won an Oscar. It's had countless people come through these streets. So hopefully you might consider taking away the albums because we'll only get one chance to give them to you. And if you think about it later on tonight, or you come across us down the road, or hear us on the radio, or find a friend that likes the band, or any of these various different things, you might say, I should have had an album when I was there, because you'll realise we'll probably never meet you like this again. You know, it takes a while to really comprehend that, because you'd have to be in the same country as us. We're not always here. You'd have to be in the same city as us. We're not always here. You'd have to be on the same street as us. We're not always here. Even in Dublin, you know, you'd have to be the same hour as us, exact same hour, and no rain. So for us to meet each other, that's an awful lot of variables. So thanks so much for your time. This song is called
Happiness
Something
Project.
Fast.
The Happiness Project.
What else?
Joyland. Cold
Joyland.
Hands.
Cold Hands.
C'est
Cold
la
Hands.
vie. Yeah.
C'est la vie. You want Carousel? You're mad for Carousel. Somebody asked for Carousel?
No, but like Happiness Project is for.
Okay, Carousel's
for
fine. We'll do Carousel. I wrote this song about a girl who worked in the shop down the road here. I liked her, but I was too afraid to talk to her. So I wrote this song. It's called Carousel. And then one day she came out and she said, I love this song. And I was like, what's it about? I didn't tell her. But actually we did end up seeing each other, and then we had to say goodbye because we signed a record deal. And ironically, 10 years later, because the idea of this song is things come around, I lost touch with her for 10 years. We ran into each other on a flight to Dubai, and now we're back together. And she's in this shop now behind me today. She can't hear me, but she's working in there today. So I can only tell this story because I know there's no windows there and she wouldn't hear me. It's called Carousel. I hope you enjoy it. And if you don't mind, guys, can I ask you to come into our rope? If everyone could just come into our rope here. It's not a trick, don't worry. It's just that we're not allowed to block the street. And here's the thing, just a little bit of advice for you guys in general in the world when you're watching a street performer. If they ask you to move in and you want to stay anonymous, if you know you don't want to be noticed and you're kind of afraid to move, if you don't move, he's going to talk to you. And then you're going to be completely singled out. It's just, I'm not saying I would do that to anybody, but that's what happens because you're like, no, please come on in, and then everybody looks at you. So if you don't want to be noticed, just do whatever they say, it'll work. This is called Carousel because you wanted it. Yeah, there you go. Your own fault. Sorry, Jan. I would have gone with the Happiness Project. You can always switch. Said it now, Carousel. You've introduced it. You've made your bed. I like the Happiness Project. No, I told the story. No, we can't do it after.
She just that switch.
I don't know if you even notice when you're here I can't take my eyes off you. I still find it hard to breathe when you stand right next to me. Yes, I do. The sound of your voice resonates. I find myself awake, I think of you. The smell of your hair in the air, it's like you're everywhere. Oh, life is cruel, 'cause I love you with a heavy heart. Somehow I know you won't be mine, but I'll only love you from afar. My love will last a lifetime, 'cause I love you with the, I love you with the, I love you with the, I love you with the. Breaking my heart complete you like no one else. My head is spinning like a carousel. Oh, and it hurts like hell to love you with a heavy heart. Somehow I know you wouldn't mind. I only love you from afar. My love will last a lifetime. And I love you with a heavy heart. I love you with a heavy heart. I love you with a heavy heart. My love will last a lifetime. Oh,
All right, thank you very much. We're going to play a song now for you called Apple Tree Hill. This was requested. I hope you enjoy this one. This is my mom's favourite song. It's also a wonderful song to have for a wedding if you want to get a dance for it that's different. Many people have used this song for a wedding song. This idea is, by the way guys, if anybody wants to take away the albums, while I'm talking in between any song, I'm going to be talking. Glover's going to be able to help you out. And again, please just really think through what I'm saying to you, because I only get one chance to win you over. We've had 3 #1 albums in the official charts in Ireland, 5 #1 singles, a platinum album, 3 nominations in the Irish Music Awards. If those things seem like a unique thing for you to walk down the street and hear somebody say to you, we hope you might say to yourself, do you know what, I'm going to take a leap of faith and take their music away. Our new album is not available anywhere else. Everything I'm saying is verifiable for yourself if you go online. We've returned to playing on the streets because we got fed up being ripped off by a record label, agency, publisher, manager, all these other different layers, and we decided to get out. If you don't know this, record labels generally take about 80%. It's 7,500 streams equates to 1 sale on the street. That means 60 million streams a year for a band of 5 people would give us the same wages as a Spotify employee. If you have a record deal, they're going to take 80% of that. We've got friends that do between 70 and 100 million streams on every single song they put out, and they're broke. You have to get to the billions. Think about how many bands in the last few years you've heard come through. How many bands in the last 7 years have you heard appear and become successful? Bands. Lots of solo people. I can think of one, and I'm in music. And the reason for that is bands can't survive anymore because there's 5 of them, which means they make 5 times less than a solo person. And that's why all the new acts all sort of sound the same. Obviously there's differences, but there's sort of sound the same. In the 80s, people were wildly different. In the 90s, they were wildly different. Now a lot of stuff sort of sounds the same. And why? Because they're being pushed into it by labels. Not to do with creativity. Being pushed into it. Business is business, and business is booming for the labels, but not for people. So we hope you might get behind what we're trying to do. We're trying to build something from the ground up, get ourselves all the way back to playing arenas, but without anybody else getting involved, just people on the streets. So we started this by taking out a substantial bank loan, recording our brand new album, which is called Anything But Normal. We also booked our first tour. We're already about 75,000 in debt now because of those decisions. And now what we'll do is every penny we earn goes into just paying those off, making more music, growing. We're cooperative, but it does not work. Everybody loves the idea of somebody taking on the system. This year, we're going to find out if people will support somebody when they decide to take on the system, because it doesn't work if people don't get behind it. That's how you take down things. That's how you change things. Everybody works together. So have a listen. If you want to take the music away, come on over after this song. It's only 20 for all 3 of our albums. I know you don't have a CD player. This bit's important. You don't need a CD player. This has a password on it. And that will allow you to download the music from our website to your phone. You can also use that password just to stream it on your phone if you don't want to use up your data or use up your space. You can share it with each other, so if there's more than one of you, you can just all use the same password. If you've got friends and family when you get home you think would like the music, give them the password, let them do it as well. It is not limited, it will never expire, it'll work forever. That's all 3 albums on CD, download, stream, and then the bag is totally free as well. And that saves you going into a souvenir shop and getting something that says Dublin, Trinity, Guinness, Ireland on it, or a shamrock, or a leprechaun, or a spoon with a poem on it. And like, it's much more interesting, and you're supporting something that isn't a giant corporation. Like, Ireland is changing. This street has a Starbucks at the bottom, a Starbucks at the top, and a Starbucks in the middle. On this street. Ireland is changing. It's becoming more and more corporate, more and more capitalist, like everybody else. And the more people support things like this, I think the better off we'll all be. Thank you so much for your time. This is called Apple Tree Hill. This is about 2 people finding each other, spending their lives together, and being buried under an apple tree at the end of their lives. Not like a suicide pact, it's just end of their lives. we get used a lot for weddings, and we've had a lot of people email us with how much this song has impacted them, and it's very humbling to hear those stories. So if you enjoy it and you'd like to be a part of what we're doing, please consider taking our albums away, because we'll never get a second chance to say all that stuff to you. And if you don't take it away today, and you're sitting in a pub later on and having 2 glasses of wine that cost you 20 quid when you could have had a bag and 3 albums signed, you might say, that's money not well spent. Just saying. This is called Apple Tree Hill. You know how I feel in song. Every word, every line must be perfect, most of it shit right. 'Cause I will still love you when I'm old and gray, when I can barely see you, 'cause my eyes begin to fail. I will still hold your hand in the pouring rain. We will dance and sing like we're still young, and I will tell you every day, I love you, baby. And I always will. I need you, lady. 'Cause I adore you still. And if I go first, please bury me up on Apple Tree Hill. We'll see the world, every sight. We'll do it all one long weekend at a time. We the kids, 2 or 3, a big old yard to watch them running free. And I lie beside you when your body aches, when the winter seems much colder, and I'm walking with a cane. I will still make you tea, place warm kisses on your face. We will dance and sing like we're 19, and I'll still take you out on these. I love you, baby, and I always will. I need you, lady, 'cause I adore you still. And if I go first, I'll wait for you up on Apple Tree Hill. Up on Apple Tree Hill. Love you, baby, and I always will. I need you, lady, 'cause I adore you still. And if I go first, please bury me up on Apple Tree Hill. If I go first, I'll wait for you up on Apple Tree Hill. One thing I know, we'll lie together on Apple Tree Hill. Thank you very much, thank you. By the way, guys, if you don't have cash, we also have our card machine with us. Thanks so much. Thanks, man. So as I said, we're called Keywest. We do appreciate you stopping to listen to us. We just have 2 songs left now, and then we're going to finish because there is rain coming, folks. Just a word of warning: there'll be rain in about an hour. Right? No point looking around; they're miles away, but it's coming. It's going to be very heavy. We know this as buskers. We can smell it. The temperature's starting to change. You notice it's starting to get a bit cooler. That's the beginning of the weather coming in and changing. Plus the weather forecast holds. So it's 2 reasons. It wasn't just the smelling. How you doing? Thank you. All right, so as I said, guys, we're called Keywest. Thanks so much for stopping to listen to us. We are just 2 members of the band, right? So there's 5 people in Keywest. We don't bring them on the street with us because we're only able to play for 1 hour and then we have to move. And when you have 5 people, it takes too long to get everything working, to get everything balanced, to get the drums working. So we just play with 2 people. But if you ever come to see any of our live shows, it's the whole band, it's 5 people. If you ever come to see us at a festival, it's 5 people. So the long story short is we have gone from being with the record labels and things like that. So we've had 3 #1 albums in the official charts, we've had 5 #1 singles, a platinum album, 3 nominations in the Irish Music Awards, 3 top 10 albums in the UK, 9 top 10 singles in the UK, and a collection of awards around the world. I say these things because I guess I'm trying to emphasize how unique somebody getting to those points in their career and coming back to play on the streets really is. We've been all over the world busking, and I can tell you that I've never crossed a single individual in the world that's ever heard anybody on the street tell them they had a platinum album. It's very rare. And the reason for it is most musicians would rather give up than go from playing Coachella to the street. Because it's very, very hard for your brain to kind of wrap your head around that. For us, this is in our DNA. We were doing this since we were about 14 years old, so we're very comfortable doing this. We don't mind. Because the real trick when it comes to busking is talking. You have to be able to connect with people on a real level. You have to be able to communicate with them. It's not just the music. Because if you just played the music, all you get is a few coins. People wouldn't know what you're doing. If you want to make real change,